Music sweet, music sweet. The one who invented
6:45 in Trinidad and Tobago. Let's spend some time talking about the HDC, the Housing Development Corporation, because they were certainly in the news towards the end of last week with the minister making a complete mess of the data in relation to indebtedness. But we were talking about something else this morning. That really makes no sense going into that bit of foolishness once again, because the HDC is launching the updated Housing Application Fulfilment System today. The online Housing Application Fulfilment System, the acronym is HAFS, the portal is the primary channel for public housing applications. The HDC observed an increase in the number of requests from the public regarding retrieving passwords and reference numbers and updating personal information. It was difficult to determine the number of qualified persons on the database because of outdated information regarding salary, employment, marital status, migration, and death. Well, the HDC determined that an update to the system and a cleanup of the database would help both the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development and the HDC to properly assess and allocate homes to eligible persons. To tell us more about this, we're joined by Jeremy Campbell, who is the Divisional Manager for Corporate Services at the HDC. Mr. Campbell, very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Morning, sir. Thanks for having me.
More than welcome. So, okay, the system kicks in from today. What does that mean for an existing person who has an application inside by the HDC?
Okay, no problem. So just to correct you, we actually launched this system last week
Okay.
Tuesday.
All right.
All right. So actually, HAFS is a system that existed for quite a while. So this is actually a relaunch of the HAFS database. What we are trying to do with this database is to allow a better customer experience. So historically, we know customers are always asking where are they in the application process, how long does it take to apply for housing. So what the system does, it allows the customers to go online, see exactly where they are in the allocation process, update their application. They can also do an assessment, a self-assessment, put in their income, their loans, to actually see where they are financially, to see exactly what units they would qualify for. So it's a way in which the agency is trying to get customers more involved in the home experience.
Okay, so thanks very much for that clarification. Why was there a need for the relaunch? Is it that people didn't come on board with the online process?
No, well, because of COVID, obviously, we wanted to interface with customers in a different way, right? So what we are trying to do is to bring customers closer to the HDC as opposed to how the system was before. Traditionally, you would have come to the HDC to get your reference number. You would have called to get this information. Now it's basically online. It's an online portal. Customers can do everything that we can do inside HDC for themselves. So it's actually a way to move the HDC forward where technology is concerned.
Okay, so let me again rephrase the question then. I'm an existing applicant. Maybe I put in an application in 2016.
Right.
What do I have to do now to update my information and make sure that I am in the queue to get a house?
Excellent question. So you can visit the HDC website or you can go onto the ministry's website. Either one can work, right? hgcgov.tt. You will see an application. You will see a link saying to apply. Once you click apply, it will take you to this Ministry of Housing database. You will then put in your username and your password. If you can't remember your password, you simply click help/support and you can then input your information, your email address, and the ministry will then respond to you, giving you what your username and your password would be. Once you get that information actually, and you go onto the platform, you can then add an applicant, remove a co-applicant, update your income, your loans. If you just want to see what you would qualify if your salary was X, or if you pay off your credit cards, it actually shows you that entire span of what can be done and where you would actually qualify for. The most important thing about this database though, is that once you input that information, it tells you if you qualify or if you don't qualify. We know that customers are always asking, could I qualify for this particular site or not? Once they input that information, they actually see this information in real time. And that's one of the benefits of the database.
So just so I can understand it clearly, Mr. Campbell, let's say again, I am that person who put in an application 5 years ago, and now I'm being asked to do the same thing all over again, only to find out that now, based on the updated information I've input, that I don't qualify anymore?
So it's not a situation that you won't qualify anymore. Obviously, if you applied 5 years ago, circumstances may change. Your salary may change. You may have gotten married. You may have had loans before that would have been paid off now. What this does is that it allows you to, in real time, update your application. in real time. And that's something that customers sometimes they may not do. They may have applied 5 years ago and then think that that application is still there, that income is still there, but actually your situation would have changed. So we are trying to get customers involved in the application process in a more holistic manner.
And as we're having this discussion and talking about this particular portal that is designed to obviously speed up the process, make it more efficient, more relevant to the real life circumstances of those applicants right now, what is the average time for an applicant to get a house from the time of submitting their first application to actually getting the keys for the house?
That's an excellent question. So there's a misconception that there's a particular time that it takes to get a HDC house. What really matters is where you apply. So for example, you could apply for a house and you may want a house on the east-west corridor, but currently we may only have units on these in central and in south. So obviously it may take you a longer period of time to get that house because we haven't been building houses on a particular area that you are applying for. So it's not that it takes long to get an HDC house, it's really where you wish to apply. Also, certain persons may not want they may not want an apartment or a townhouse. They may only want a single family unit. So if we only have single family units in Deep South, for example, but you want a single family in Tunapuna, and we currently don't have those available, your waiting time will be different from somebody who is actually applying for a single family unit in Deep South. So it's really based on what you qualify for and where you apply for.
I understand. I mean, I fully appreciate. I mean, and I know there are lots of different issues. There are lots of moving parts associated with this. But again, it's not that I'm pressing you. I want to be insistent. But let's just say I have an applicant, and I say, look, any house, anywhere, if it's on a rock in Galeota, give me it.
Right.
How long will it take?
Again, it all depends if you qualify. So we are working actively to assess persons that qualify for mortgage and also rental. So it all depends on if you qualify for the unit, and once you get approved, we are working assiduously to ensure that customers get their keys at the soonest time possible.
A year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 27 years?
It really depends on where you apply for and where you qualify for. There's no time for it to really sink in.
And I understand the complications, Mr. Campbell. And I suppose the issue is, at the end of the day, are you satisfied that this portal is going to make a real difference in the efficiency of the system? Because at the end of the day, it is putting deserving persons in homes, not the opportunists, not those who try to exploit the system, not the fraudsters and so on. The intention is from the very beginning, before it was called HDC, it was previously THA, you remember the name, I can't remember it now. But the idea is to provide housing for deserving persons. Are you satisfied that this portal will make any difference in that regard?
I'm actually extremely satisfied with this portal, and I believe it will make a change in how persons interact with the HDC and their customer experience with the HDC. It allows customers in real time, Fazeer, to understand where they are in the application process. So once they go on the system and they apply, they basically can see, okay, if I don't qualify, maybe I should add somebody to the application. Maybe I should clear off my loans. If I had a salary of X amount, possibly I would qualify for this area. So I have full confidence in the system. It will impact the lives of the nation of Trinidad and Tobago.
Is updating the information on this portal mandatory? The reason I'm asking it this way is that if I say, look, man, I waited about 15 years and I can't get a house, well, what difference is it going to make? I will still be waiting another time. Will I get kicked out of the system if I don't update my data via this portal?
No, you won't get kicked out. What we are trying to do, for example, if you apply for a bank loan, apply to school, apply for anything, you need to ensure, the onus is on you, the customer, to ensure that your information is up to date. So that's what we are trying to do. We are trying to make it easier for persons to update their information so that the transition from applicant to homeowner is more seamless. But customers really need to take that initiative to update their information. But there's no penalty or being kicked off if you don't update it. It's just us trying to assist.
So I don't lose my position in the order. For example, if I was getting closer and closer to the end of the line, if I take long to update my data, do I fall back in the line?
You wouldn't fall back in the line. Again, everything is based on qualification and where units are available. So there's no line to fall back on or move up on. It's really to update your information.
Well, maybe some people may say, I don't want to update my data because I get a better paying job. My financial circumstances have changed. And if I really give my real data, I wouldn't qualify anymore.
Well, that's the customer's prerogative, and that's their right. But we are in the business of assisting the public of Trinidad and Tobago, and we want to make the home experience more exciting and more simple for persons who are applying.
And what about the verification process? If I put, for example, which would be a blatant lie, of course, that I am only earning $2,000 a month, that I could barely make ends meet, and I'm real struggling. My wife leave me, and she taking every cent I have, and so on. And I submit all that information. What's the process of verification?
So once you update your information, there's still an approval process that needs to happen, right? We are guided by the cabinet note that says it's either 60% random selection, 25% ministerial, 10% joint protective, or 5% elderly and disabled. So even if you update your system, your application online, you still need to go through a rigorous assessment process. You need to be interviewed, you need to bring in documents, and also once you get allocated, these documents are vetted by either TTMF or whichever financial institution you decide to go to. So providing false information to us doesn't affect the HDC, it really affects the customer. And we would ask customers to provide proper information because there's many channels in which we would verify that internally, and also when you go to get your mortgage, the banks will also verify that information. So it's always good to start telling the truth from the start.
Absolutely. And before we conclude our discussion in a few minutes, I'll ask you just to repeat the information, the contact information, the website, and so on, as to what people have to do this and the process of updating their information and so on. But just in general, Mr. Campbell, from your own experience, applicants generally forthright and upfront with their information, or are people always trying something to get a house that they don't deserve?
So persons that are on the system, obviously they try to update their records as often as possible. But we know that the challenge before was that you need to come to the HDC to physically do that. So this portal allows customers to do that remotely via your phone, via your computer, your tablet. So you no longer need to come to the HDC. With respect to persons trying to get a unit in other ways, that is something that obviously is something that we are aware of and something that we are actively working to address.
And just repeat for us again, the same way we started our discussion this morning, and I thank you for the correction as well, that the relaunch was actually last week and not today.
Yes.
And therefore, what the existing applicants, those who have a number and a password and everything already, what do they have to do as soon as possible to update their data via this new platform?
Right. They need to go to hdc.gov.tt, that's the HDC's website. When you go on that, you will see a button called Apply. You click Apply, that will take you to the ministry's link, and then you just follow the portal. You put in your username and your password. If you can't remember your username or password, you click help/support, and it will then direct you to the ministry, and they will then email you all the information that you need.
And if it's somebody like myself who is intimidated by technology and would like to speak to an actual human being to get some guidance as to the process, what do I have to do in that regard?
Right, so that's actually possible. You could actually call the HDC. We have a very dynamic call center that will take those calls, and we will walk you through the process. That's not a problem at all.
And overall, I mean, when we talk about the refining and streamlining the process to make it as efficient as possible, we all know the challenges that we face in Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Campbell, and the demand for housing is very acute. It always has been. There are the constant issues about repairs and whether the homes are upgraded and so on. But from your own point of view, is the HDC really meeting all of these many different challenges as far as fulfilling that fundamental principle of providing housing for deserving persons in Trinidad and Tobago? Are you satisfied that you're meeting that need?
We are satisfied that we are meeting that demand, but obviously there's work to be done. We know that we can be better, and this is just one of the initiatives in trying to make the HDC better to serve the public of Trinidad and Tobago. All the issues that you would have listed, we would have put systems in place and would have learned from the past in strategies that could mitigate these factors. But this is just one mechanism of the HDC moving forward to move the needle to be a better organization to the public of Trinidad and Tobago. And
very quickly and finally, because we're almost up to 7 o'clock, is there a deadline to update this data? No, there's no deadline. Okay, great. Customers can update as soon as they can or when they can. All right, Jeremy Campbell, Divisional Manager for Corporate Services at the HDC. We thank you very much, sir, for taking the time to be with us. Thank you, sir, for having me. No problem. You're more than welcome indeed. Coming up towards 7 o'clock in Trinidad and Tobago, we reach the end of the first hour of Morning Edition on this Tuesday. Lots of issues to discuss when it comes to HDC matters, agricultural matters, food price matters, and so on. We just seem to be revisiting these issues over and over, but let's see if this portal makes a difference for all of those applicants, so deserving applicants who are sitting around waiting for an opportunity. 7 o'clock, time for the news.